Hello again. We're on a roll here, so I thought we'd keep going. This is different from yesterday, so we're back to my favorite area, the Northern Rhone. This is the Côte Rôtie, 2011. We've had this wine before, almost exactly 2 years ago, so I would recommend checking that first video by the same name. You'll have a little bit more background. This is called Côte Rôtie La Neve. So Neve, and it's by Neve is this very small parcel in the Côte Rôtie on the northern side, on the side of the Côte Brune. We discussed a while ago how basically the Côte Rôtie is broken in the middle by a line that separates Côte Brune from Côte Blonde, and then Brune and north, you've got a different soil from Blonde and south. So Lancement, Brune, I think Vieillères, Les Grands Places, these are, I think, in the north, if I'm not mistaken. Neve is one of them. So it's more schist-oriented, darker, tougher soil, and it reflects the character of the wine. This is made by Louis Barruol, who's one of the big names of the Southern Rhone. His basically Chateau Saint-Cosme, and this is a joint venture between Barruol and Kermit Lynch. I don't know to what extent it's a joint venture of ownership, but it was heavily influenced by Kermit Lynch and his desire for a special cuvée to sell and import and sell in the US. And this is what this is. There's a couple other names in terms of bottlings or with the labels, if you want, with the same joint venture, with the same look, but different names other than La Neve. Neve, and I think Chapoutier is the other one I know who makes Côte Rôtie from Neve, but otherwise you're not going to see it very much. Anyway, 2011 was a good year, but not necessarily a year you keep forever, so it's great to be able to enjoy these things, and I look for years like that where I can enjoy it right away. I'm going to interrupt here and jump to a first clip with my daughter's contribution. Since we're enjoying it together, I thought it would be fair for her to give us her feedback as well. Then I'll get back to my own tasting. So what do you think, Edna?
So first, I think the color I find pretty striking because it definitely has strong like red sort of gemstone.
Like a ruby, I guess.
I guess, but it's almost, I would say, more like a garnet, and then there's an interesting orange underlayer to it. And then on the nose, I find it really floral, kind of like like a perfume, like a floral-based perfume.
Yeah, it's very aromatic
and very clean smelling, like a crisp smell, crisp but warm. And then in terms of the flavor, I feel it's very rounded, sort of like a ball of flavor that hits you with multiple sides and dimensions to it at the front of the mouth.
Can you name some of the types? Is it like is it fruits? Is it meats? Is it dirt? Is it flour?
I think it's a little bit more citrusy to me.
More tart.
Tart, but as you're drinking it, I mean, of course, you get the smell, and it skews what you're expecting to taste. So I get the citrus, but I think it's hard to disassociate that from the florals that you get. Okay, thank you. By the way, looking at the color here, as you can see, it's very, very dark. It's dark and what I would call thick, and I think it's sort of a whole cluster, unfined, unfiltered wine. So you're gonna get a lot of that good stuff in there, and it kind of reduces the acidity, makes it a little bit more wholesome from that point of view. The wine is just incredibly aromatic, and we discussed this the first time 2 years ago. It's really a pleasure to really sort of explore with your nose. It's got the typical sort of earthiness of a Côte Rôtie, kind of more on the
not necessarily gamey quite as much this time around, but more earthy tones. It's got the fruit. It's got a hint of the peppercorn. This has been opened for a day and enjoyed already, so you've got, it's really opened up. These guys take a while to open up. You can, the alcohol is just very faint on the surface. It's there, but it's not a very heavy alcohol sort of bottle. It's just really, you could just, you know, just enjoy it like this. Mm. In the mouth, it's really these dark berries, not the sweet type, more on the tart side. Not necessarily cherry, but some of the other, like blackberries, maybe raspberries a little bit more tart. It builds up. It doesn't sort of attack you. You put it, you leave it in your mouth a little bit, and it just starts really building up and taking over. And it's got a very nice finish. On the finish, you get a little bit more of the licorice, which you get from these kinds of soils. And the peppercorn is there, the white, the sort of the fine peppercorn. It's really adds a layer of sort of tartness on top of the others that's really very, very present. You can almost feel the peppercorn through your nose on the inside, just a little bit, which is just really incredible. And it's just so balanced. I mean, you know, you're kind of at the loss for words to try to separate out any one flavor. It's really well integrated. It's got what you expect in a Côte Rôtie, more on the, a little more on the tougher side, not some of the, you know, blonde side, which are a little bit more feminine. Maybe they have some Viognier in them. This one doesn't. It's really sort of a bit, you know, but it's not as tough as some of the hairy Cornas as we discussed before. It's really just on that spectrum. Reminds me of that Grand Place we had together 2011 also in December, January of just this past year here. So it's just kind of, it's serious. It's not too fruity, it's not too tart, it's just well integrated. It's got this weight to it because of the way it's made, that it's just a pleasure to enjoy, either on its own because of its aromatics, and you can sort of keep enjoying that, or with a nice meal because it's got a little bit of acidity as well that's still there, and it goes with what, it would go well with your dinner. Anyway, cheers, and see you soon.